People at Maple Ridge Elementary expected a joke that morning. A cruel one. No one thought the two quiet, poorly dressed twin girls would stand on that glossy stage and do anything but embarrass themselves. In fact, many were waiting to laugh. But when the microphone crackled and their voices rose, the entire room froze. Mouths fell open. Teachers forgot to breathe. And at the very back of the auditorium, a single dad, hands calloused from double shifts, eyes tired from years of doing it all, felt a tear slip down his cheek. He had no idea that moment would change all three of their lives forever. Beneath the giant oak tree of Maple Ridge Elementary, 12-year-old twins Lily and Mara Bennett sat with their lunchboxes closed. Not because they weren't hungry, but because hunger was easier to hide than shame. Their lunch consisted of a single apple split in half and crackers donated quietly by their teacher, Mrs. Alden. They were used to going without, used to being invisible, unless they were being whispered about. Their clothes were thrift store mismatches, their backpacks frayed, and they always walked together with a softness that made them seem like shadows instead of children. But inside those shadows burned two brilliant spirits, shaped by hardship and stitched together by music. At home, a small, crumbling rental on Pine Street, their father, Adam Bennett, always told them, "You girls have something the world hasn't heard yet." He'd say it late at night after his double shift at the mechanic shop, still in his grease-stained uniform, sitting at the edge of their bed as they hummed harmonies designed only for him. Adam had become a single father overnight after their mother passed away in an accident when the girls were 8. It broke him in ways he never said aloud, but every time the twins sang, it eased the cracks. The problem was that nobody at school knew they could sing, and the twins weren't planning to reveal it. Not after the ridicule they already dealt with. Luke Patterson, an 8th grader with too much confidence and too many followers, was the ringleader of the torment. He called them charity cases, shoved their books off desks, and once stuck a "free kittens" sign on Mara's back. They didn't fight back. They simply tightened their bond and kept walking. Everything changed the week of the school talent showcase. Mrs. Alden saw the sign-up sheet nearly empty and asked gently, "Girls, would you like to perform something?" The twins shook their heads. Performing meant eyes on them, judgment, laughter. They already lived with enough of that. But Luke overheard. With a smirk that could freeze the sun, he shouted, "Hey! The charity twins should sing. That'd be hilarious." His friends cackled. Even a few kids who should have known better laughed too. Someone scrawled their names on the sign-up sheet under "Song Performance," and the joke spread like wildfire. By the time the girls got home, they were silent.
Adam noticed instantly.
He dropped to his knees, greasy hands hovering, unsure who to comfort first. Hey, what happened?" Mara's lip quivered, and Lily finally whispered the truth. "They want us to sing, as a joke."
Adam stood, ehaling slowly.
He felt anger flare, hot, protective, desperate. But he knelt again and held their hands. "Then you sing," he said softly. "Not for them. For yourselves. For your mom. For me. For the truth of who you are." The girls exchanged a long, fearful look. But that night, when Adam sat on the old couch and their voices floated through the living room, he saw it. The power, the beauty, the undeniable gift. They weren't just good. They were extraordinary. The night before the performance, he whispered, "Let them laugh, at first. Because when you open your mouths, they'll never forget what they hear." The girls slept with trembling hearts, not knowing that the next day would shift the entire path of their lives. The school auditorium buzzed with cruel excitement. Rumors had spread all week. The twins are gonna sing. Teachers lined the walls, students filled every seat, and even parents trickled in. Most expected failure. Only a few hoped for decency. Adam arrived late, still in his mechanic uniform, because he had begged his boss to let him leave early. He slipped into the back row, trying not to attract attention. He saw his daughters backstage, pale and shaking. He lifted a fist, a small gesture of strength, and they nodded, swallowing their terror. The host rushed through other acts, bad magic tricks, a boy attempting a backflip and failing, a girl playing the violin off-key. Laughter echoed again and again. Then came the moment everyone thought would be the show's highlight for all the wrong reasons. Next up, Lily and Mara Bennett. A ripple of snickers spread across the room. The twins walked onto the stage, fingers intertwined. Mara gripped the microphone so tightly her knuckles whitened. Lily's voice barely rose above a whisper. We'd like to sing a song our dad taught us. Someone in the front row fake coughed. This'll be good. Laughter rippled. Adam felt his heart pounding so hard it hurt. But then, a miracle. Music wasn't playing. They had no instrumental track. Instead, the girls looked at each other and began with a single note, soft as a breath but steady. It floated across the auditorium with unexpected purity. Then they harmonized. The shift was instant. The air stilled, conversations cut mid-sentence, and a strange electric quiet washed over the room. Their voices blended with a haunting beauty, fragile yet strong, trembling yet powerful. They sang about loss, about holding on when everything feels dark, about love surviving through the smallest sparks of hope. The song felt too raw, too real, too emotional for kids their age. But that's what made it magic. And at the back, Adam's breath hitched. Because they weren't singing just any song. They were singing the lullaby their mother had written before she died. A song only the three of them knew. Teachers froze, stunned. Students blinked, jaws dropping open. Even Luke Patterson, arms crossed and ready to laugh, slowly uncrossed them, confusion twisting his face. No one moved. No one breathed. By the final note, the entire auditorium had fallen into a silence so complete it felt sacred. When the last chord faded, the twins stood trembling, expecting mockery. But instead, the room erupted. Not in laughter. Not in whispers. In applause. Thunderous, overwhelming applause. Teachers stood first. Then students. Even Luke's hands rose reluctantly, clapping as if some force beyond him demanded it. Cheers echoed off the walls, and for the first time in years, Lily and Mara smiled without fear. Adam rushed forward as people parted for him. He reached the stage, lifted both daughters into his arms, and held them tightly. "You girls," he whispered, voice breaking, "just changed everything." And he was right. That performance would open doors. Doors they didn't even know existed. But for that moment, all that mattered was the truth shining in the tears on his cheeks and the applause crashing like waves around them. They were no one's joke anymore. They were stars.